Hi, Greyhounds. Here we are with the second installment of The Dog Who Lost His Bark. And I would love to hear from you after you hear what happens today. So when we stopped last time, Patrick is choosing dog, and he's like, I want that puppy. He knows he's been told by Zane that it's going to take a lot of work and that the puppy might not ever trust him because of the terrible things that had happened to him. He doesn't trust any humans. So remember, when we last stopped, Patrick put him in the crate for the ride home, and Oz said to himself, human, bad. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to stay here so that I don't get into trouble. Oh my goodness. So here we go. Chapter 4. We're reading chapters 4 and 5 today. Chapter 4. Patrick sat in the back seat of Granddad's car with Oz and his special travel crate beside him. He talked to his new puppy all the way home. Granddad's house is the noisiest on the street, he explained. Especially right now. There's a summer music school going on. 5 teachers and sometimes as many as 12 students. And Granddad is the boss of it all, like a supervillain with a cello. Hey, said Granddad with a smile. I know all those screechy instruments might be a bit much for a rescue dog, continued Patrick, but I'm pretty sure I can keep you away from most of the noise. We're going to be good friends, Oz, the best. And look at that illustration there. How about I do it the right way? Oh, he's looking in there. He's talking to Oz, smiling at him. I think that's a good start. Dog did not move a muscle in case that move was the wrong move. This boy seemed kind right now, but that was people's clever trick, to be happy until it was time to be angry. Dog was not going to fall for that one again. Oh, I hate what's going through Oz's mind, don't you? I wish he would know that Patrick's a kind boy. At least I think he's kind so far. Patrick carried Oz's crate upstairs to his room, which was the quietest place in the house, although nowhere in this house was really quiet. All the other rooms rang with the whistle, plink, and screech of students battling with their musical instruments. And a lot of the noise traveled up through the floor into Patrick's room. Patrick put the doggy crate down in a square of sunlight from the window and then tugged an envelope from his pocket. Inside was a note from Zane, which he'd written as Granddad was filling out the paperwork for Oz. He tugged out the sheet of paper and read. Number 1. Are you sure about the name Oz, kid? This dog isn't going to be doing any wizardly magic tricks for quite some time. I hope Zane gives him some good advice instead of criticizing the name he'd picked out. 2. If you do stick with Oz, then call him Oz at least 100 times a day so he can get used to it. 3. Oz needs a safe place to sleep in, his very own spot, not the travel crate and not on linoleum. Oz hates linoleum for some reason, won't go near it. 4. It might take a few days for Oz to eat. Just keep putting out fresh food. It would help if you ate some of the food in front of him so he knows it's safe. Gross, I know, but you wanted this dog. 5. Also, speaking of gross, Oz is very nervous at the moment, so keep plastic bags and disinfectant handy. Oh, maybe he throws up. 6, very important, a dog without a bark is not a happy dog. You need to teach little Oz man to bark again. 7, finally call me anytime, 24/7. Zane is always available for Oz because I am insane about dogs. Get it? Cute, insane. Patrick read the note several times, then made a few trips downstairs to the kitchen for trash bags and hot dogs. Okay, fella, he said to the little dog cowering at the back of his crate, shivering with every cymbal crash or trumpet toot from below. Let's get started on today's 100. Come on, Oz, let's go, Oz. You'd like a hot dog, wouldn't you, Oz? 3 down, thought Patrick, 97 to go. By supper time, Patrick had said Oz's name 100 times and eaten 3 hot dogs. The last music student had been picked up, and the patch of sun by the window had moved slowly across the room and then disappeared, to be replaced a little while later by moonlight. Patrick kicked off his shoes and checked his phone. Dad had replied to his call, "Your only son," text with this message. "Later, buddy. Rehearsing. Drummer is so bad you wouldn't believe it." Patrick was too excited about Oz to ask for more info on the drummer. I finally got a dog. I named him Oz after your tour. He won't eat or even come out of the travel crate. Any advice? I don't know that his dad's going to have advice because his dad has never been around dogs. He hadn't expected an immediate reply, but Dad got right back to him. Oz? Great name. I'm not much help with dogs, I'm afraid. Achoo! Send pics. Patrick took a few shots and sent them off, then went back to his training. 2 hours later, he'd eaten 3 more hot dogs, leaving only one for Oz should he ever come out of his crate. Then, stuffed and drowsy, Patrick fell asleep right there on the carpet with the remaining hot dog in his hand. I love this illustration. Look at Oz looking out at him. And can you see the hand of Patrick? It's kind of faint in the background. He's on the floor and he still has the hot dog in his hand. So he fell asleep trying to help Oz. Dog knew, this is Dog's perspective now, Dog's point of view. Dog knew that the human boy was offering him food, but he was sure it was a trick. As soon as he took the food, something bad would happen, maybe even super bad. Dog wasn't sure what super bad would be exactly, but he was 100% certain that humans had more bad in them than he had seen. So he did not take the food, even though it smelled so delicious. More delicious than anything Dog had ever smelled. More delicious than any dog had ever, He could imagine gnashing the food between his teeth and how it would feel when he chewed it. How the taste would explode in his mouth and make the hole in his tummy go away. But boys could not be trusted. Yes, they started off all smiley, but before you knew it, out came the pokey fingers. So Dog stayed as quiet as he could and kept his paws inside the crate. After a long time, the boy fell asleep. Dog could tell the boy was really half asleep because people smell different when they are asleep. Colder. Dog poked his nose out of the crate and sniffed the air. The smell of food flowed in through Dog's nose. It filled him up and made him hungry at the same time and was more powerful than any rope, pulling the puppy out of his crate and toward the food thing. Dog knew that it was meat, which made a dog strong. His mother had told him with licks, grunts, and snuffles that meat was the best thing for dogs. And look at the illustration of him creeping there so quietly while Patrick is sleeping. He's got to have food, doesn't he? Dog crept forward, using all his sneaky skills, hypnotized by the dog, his tongue hanging out, panting softly. He was so hungry that his bones ached. He knew the boy would not wake if there was no sound, and so Dog placed his paws carefully on the floor so that he would not make a single peep of noise. He was glad that Biter was not there, for his brother would surely wake the person, and then the bad things would begin. The meat was close now, and Dog longed to chomp it down. He reached out for his tongue for a test and licked the food. It tasted awesome. So Dog leaned in and chewed the meat right out of the boy's hand. The meat tasted even better than he had imagined, and Dog felt as if he could jump up to the sky if he wanted. But Dog was not ready for jumping just yet. The food had another effect on him. There was something he needed to do before sneaking back into his crate. And he remembered from the bad time that people had a major problem when dogs did this thing on the floor. So Dog looked around for somewhere close by to do what he needed to be done. He found the perfect place. The perfect place to go dog doo-doo? Wait till you see what it is. The boy's tennis shoe. Oh. Later, Patrick woke, stiff in his muscles from lying on the floor. He stretched from his fingertips to his toenails, then remembered the new dog. Oz, 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 he said, getting a head start on the following day's quota. Are you still in that crate, boy? Oz was in the crate, fast asleep, and in the pale light of the moon, Patrick could see the shining bald spots in his fur where poor Dog had been mistreated. His heart swelled with sadness, and he wondered if maybe he had had enough love in him to cover Oz too. Then Patrick noticed that his fingers had been slobbered on, and that was the last hot dog was missing from his hand. Oz must have sneaked out while he was asleep. I'm getting through to you, aren't I, boy? He whispered. He texted Dad. Oz ate a hot dog. Moments later, Dad texted back, results. When Patrick went to put on his sneakers the next morning, he realized that he and Oz were now sharing those as well as the hot dogs. Gross. It was his favorite sneaker, too, the left one. So great he ate a hot dog. Not so great that he thinks he's supposed to go in his shoe. But I want to point out how Patrick reacted. He didn't hit him. He didn't scream at him. He knows that Oz is just trying to learn how to survive. He seems to me like a kind boy. I hope that's always true. What do you think? All righty. Let's get started in chapter 5. Patrick knew that he had made a small breakthrough, but he was sure it would take more than a few hot dogs and a sneaker potty to make Oz trust him again. Luckily, there was magic in the house, and this might just do the trick. The magic permeated the walls of the house every day except Sunday when there were no music lessons. Patrick was so used to the magic that he didn't even notice it anymore, and he never imagined it could be the key to a breakthrough. So instead, over the next few days, Patrick tried every trick he could find in a book Mom had bought it to help him form a connection with Oz. The book was called Making the Top Dog. I want to point out this illustration. He's like offering him a treat, it looks like. He is offering him a treat, I should say, instead of like ever so gently. So he's even reading about how to help Oz. Socialization is vital was the name of chapter 1. Patrick looked up socialization and it meant interacting with others. He really tried to encourage Oz to socialize, but every time he attempted to lead his puppy from the crate, Oz would give a sad whine that sounded so human that Patrick didn't have the heart to make the dog cross the threshold. Patrick followed every step outlined in the book. He crawled on the floor like another dog. He spoke in a soft voice. He repeated Oz's name 100 times a day. He shared hot dogs with Oz. He even shared doggy biscuits, which, truth be told, he found tasty, but nothing seemed to help. Oz would never come out of the crate unless Patrick was asleep. And then there was the issue of the sneaker potty. Patrick assured Mom this was a good thing because it meant Oz was a smart puppy. Mom was not impressed, and Patrick started to worry that the summer would end before he got through to Oz. And he hated to think of Oz shut up in his bedroom away from Dad and his allergies until Patrick got home from school each day. One day, Patrick sat cross-legged in front of Oz's crate. Boy and dog regarded each other with sad eyes. "Come on, boys," said Patrick. "You have to come out. You need a bath, and I'm running out of shoes. Please, Oz, I'm a nice guy, honestly. You can trust me not to hurt you. How about I be your friend and you be mine? Then as a team, we can go out and make more friends." Oz's only reply was his trademark whine. "Okay, boy," Patrick sighed and opened to the next chapter of Making the Top Dog. Patrick's granddad walked into the room a bit later to see how the Oz project was going. He did this half a dozen times a day and always asked the same question. "Any progress, bud?" "No," said Patrick gloomily, "and I only have one spare shoe. After that, we're down to slippers." Granddad squatted in front of Oz's crate. "Hey, little fella, do you feel like coming out today?" Oz whined again and Granddad froze. "Hey," he said, surprised. "What?" asked Patrick. Granddad squinted thoughtfully at Oz. "That dog has pretty good pitch." "Pitch? What's pitch?" "Very funny, Granddad," said Patrick. "I'm not joking. I've been teaching Beethoven's Ode to Joy to a student downstairs all week. Apparently, she's not the only one to have picked it up." Patrick put down his book. "You're kidding." "Let's see." I love this one. His granddad is playing on a flute, trying to get Oz to come out because apparently Oz loves music, has been listening to those kids every day. Let's see, pulling a tiny whistle from his pocket. It was his backup instrument and more portable than a cello. He quickly played the melody. Oz looked at him from the back of the crate, then whined most of the notes back to him with a couple of extra ones at the end. Granddad winked at his grandson. "As they say, bud, music soothes the savage beast, and it looks like it soothes the sad one, too." Patrick stared at his puppy in total and utter amazement. "Oz," he said, "you can sing." Granddad laughed. "Patrick, he's a dog. He can't sing, but he can whine pretty well." "Well, that sounds like singing to me if he's singing back the notes. Oh my goodness, what a special dog." Patrick felt an idea run through him like a jolt of electricity. His granddad might just have found the magical way to get Oz's bark back. Patrick tugged his violin case from the high shelf where it had lain since they'd arrived at Granddad's. Without Dad to nag him about practice, Patrick had neglected his instrument. He tuned the strings, and as he tuned, Oz tuned his whine, matching Patrick as closely as his doggy vocal cords would allow. "You have a great ear, Oz," said Patrick. When he had finished tuning, Patrick played Ode to Joy, which was a tune he knew too, and Oz howled it back at him, more or less. Patrick tried the Darth Vader theme from Star Wars, and Oz did that too. "Try this one, boys," said Patrick, and he played a traditional Irish air called Plexti Irwin. It took Oz a few listens with his head cocked to one side, but soon he had mastered it. This was incredible. Could his pup really be musical? Oz's forepaws were now sticking out of the crate. With every note, Patrick shifted a little bit away from the crate, and Oz shifted with him, until, for the first time since arriving at his new home, Oz, the rescue dog, was all the way out of his crate while Patrick was awake. Patrick smiled. "What do you say, Oz? Are we buddies at last?" Oz's response was to piddle in the last spare shoe by the window, which means potted in his shoe. I'm going to show you the illustration. Oh, I can't wait to read this page. Look at him all cuddled up in his violin case. Oh. Patrick ran out to the landing and called down the stairs, "Granddad, the music is working. You're a genius." Granddad's laughter echoed up the stairs, followed by the words, "It's about time everyone realized that, bud." Patrick returned to his room, wondering what tune to try on Oz next, and saw that another doggy problem had been resolved. Oz had found a new bed. Patrick pulled out his phone and took a picture, which he sent to his dad in Australia. Minutes later, his phone rang. His father's number flashed on the screen. Patrick swiped to answer. "Dad, did you get the photo?" "I did, Pat," his father's voice said, which sounded clear even though he was in a different hemisphere. "I see you managed to get Oz out of his case and into another one." "Yep, I used the violin. Oz can sing, Dad." Dad laughed. "I've been telling the boys in the band all about Oz, how you named him after our tour. They think it's hilarious. Keep sending the photos, son." "I will. I took a good one of dog poop in my sneaker. Do you want that?" "Of course I do." Granddad said the composition was spectacular. The composition of the dog doo-doo, like a composition of a song or a paper. "Well, it must be true then." Patrick took a deep breath. If Oz could be brave, he could be brave. He looked at Oz asleep in the violin case and decided to ask some frank questions. "Don't you like Granddad anymore, Dad? Is that why you're not coming to his house over the summer?" he asked as he walked to the living room. Dad was silent for a moment, then he said, "No. I like your Granddad lots. We have a few more gigs, that's all." "I checked your website," said Patrick. "The last gig was a week ago." "I know," said Dad, "but we have some private gigs, last-minute stuff, corporate, in Sydney." Last-minute stuff often came in, and his dad always said, "In this game, you can't turn down a paying job." "But you're not going to New Zealand?" "Nope, just Sydney." "So when are you coming home, exactly?" "I'm not sure," said Dad. "We're still nailing down a few details." "So, no date?" "No date yet, soon, and soon we'll have a real talk." "In person, Dad. Phone radiation is bad for my developing brain, you know." "I've heard that. I wouldn't want to interfere with your brain development." "So soon, Dad, you promise?" "Soon," said Dad, "when I get things sorted out." But he didn't promise. And there's an illustration of Patrick talking on his phone to his father. Patrick told Mom about the conversation later, when she was tucking him in, which she had started to do again this summer. Dad won't tell me when he's coming home," he said. Mom sighed. "I can't help you there, Patrick. Dad will help you when he's ready." "There's something going on, isn't there?" said Patrick, but Mom changed the subject. "I see Oz has found a new bed for himself. More comfortable than a crate, I bet. Granddad showed me how to get him out of the crate." Mom pretended to be shocked. "Granddad? What about me? I bought you that book. Don't I deserve some credit?" "Maybe 20%, said Patrick. "Only 20? 20 for you, 20 for Granddad." "Who gets the rest?" said Mom, though she could probably guess. "Oz," said Patrick. 60% for Oz. Okay. So now we have chapter 6. And remember, so he's coming out of his crate. He's singing, which sounds great, but he's not outside yet. So things are getting better, right? But he's not outside. He's in his room. We've got a way to go. I hope Patrick trusts him, and I hope Patrick doesn't mess something up to cause Oz to get afraid again or not trust him. Whew. I can't wait to find out what comes next and find out if he ever goes outside. Also, what's the deal with the dad not coming home? Does that seem strange to you? What do you think? I would love to hear from you. Email me. Let me know what you're reading right now. Hope you're enjoying your e-day, and you'll make my day if I get that email. And remember, if you can't wait until the end of this, remember to check it out. We've got several copies. Also, there are several copies at the public library as well, since it's a Young Hoosier book this year. Okay, take care, Greyhounds. Be good, and I will see you later on. Bye-bye, and have a great day.